Already having so much fun tonight. That's why the ladies, are talking as I'm about to introduce myself here. But I just want to say thank you for logging in. Thank you for being part of this show. Every Wednesday, we have the privilege to come to you to share some really important concepts. And I think tonight idea is amazing because I was reading an article and I wanted to share with my friends and we all started talking about it. And basically tonight's idea is success matters. The topic is success matters, but what does it really take to be successful? Is it important that you and your kids, that you take the time to explain to your kids, what does it really take to be successful? The article that we read talks about, how important it is to educate kids and to let them know that it takes more than just effort. It takes abilities and also luck. And so tonight we're gonna take some time to define success. We're gonna take some time to talk about some of the barriers and the challenges that we all face as we pursuing success. Without further ado, I would like to introduce my friends who are on tonight. One of them you've seen before, but definitely the newest one, Cassandra Henson, you've never seen before. And I would like to introduce her first. Cassandra, can you please introduce yourself? Let us know who you are, where you come from, and why you decided to be part of the show tonight.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Cassandra. People call me Cassandra. But Cassandra is really what my name sounds by. So I'm from Boston originally. Grew up in Boston, was raised in Boston, Dorchester area. Was born in Haiti, so I am Haitian and Irish descent. Yeah, and came to America with my family, and we grew up in Dorchester. I am a realtor, so I go by Cassandra Holmes. So if you, and I basically am just helping everybody try to find their dream home or downsize or whatever, and I am on here because Gabrielle asked me to.
I know.
We go way back, and I'm so happy to be here, and the subject is very fun, and it's just, I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
Yes, we go way back, Cassandra.
Yeah, we do.
I was like Cassandra. I used to call her Cassandra. I'm like Cassandra. But she's an amazing woman, and I'm so glad you're able to join us tonight. We were having so much fun off camera. That's why I was like, let's go live, and then you guys continue to talk. But Gabrielle, so nice to have you again tonight.
Please so nice to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my name is Gabrielle, and I used to be a teacher in the Boston Public Schools and retired few years back. Now I'm a screenwriter, and I love it. I have a script in pre-production, and this is an interesting topic. What is success? It's complicated how to reach it, and there are a lot of factors, and I am here because Gabrielle asked me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. We all saw the movie Pursuit of Happiness, the Pursuit of Happiness with the actor Will Smith, and how hard he had to work in order for him to pursue, that goal, that ultimate goal that he had of becoming a stockbroker. And I've gone through my journey to achieve certain goals. So I would like to know, let's just put that, put a definition behind the word success. What would you ladies, how would you define success? Gabrielle, you can go first.
Okay. Well, I was a teacher for a number of decades in the Boston Public Schools, and I saw a lot of students grow up, and I was always happy. I guess what I would define success is that they were able to make a living at something that they enjoyed and have a family, if that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess stability, to be able to have a home and a family and not be worrying where your next meal is going to come from. I think I think if we have our basic needs met, most people can be relatively happy if they take care of their mental health as well.
Correct. I think that's fine. You know, online definitions varies. They're saying success is learning. I love to learn, so I feel like I'm very successful at that. Success is being loving. I love to love. I love people, and I think that's also successful. Appreciating the present moment, living in the present, that's successful. And successful is being success also is defined by you. So how would you define success, Kassan?
You know, I think success to me is finding enjoyment in whatever it is that you're pursuing. Really, truly loving what you want to do at that moment, you know, and it's going to change. Success isn't one thing, it changes with you. And you know, I think one of the things you said, it's a journey. Definitely is, you know, it's part of your life process. And I think one of the biggest successes is being able to have peace within yourself with whatever you're doing, and balance. Balance is very important with having success. So
yeah, definitely. But of course, we live in America, which is considered a capitalist country. It's a capitalist country, and therefore, you know, we also in this country, one of the ways that we measure success is through financial gains, right? Economic power. So the reason why this article really was so interesting to me is because we want to define not only success, but also what does it really take? Because when most people look at you, look at me and others, they measure how successful we are based on how much money do you have in the bank? How big is your house? Or, you know, how many degrees were you able to have to attain? And so many things that are perhaps tangible, not so much the intangible things that we just mentioned. So, so how would you? So my next question is, you know, what does it really take to be successful in this country, and what should we teach our kids about it?
I think it takes a desire. You start with a desire of, you know, what it is that you want and understanding what you want. And then from there, getting the skill set to accomplish it. So I think like learning, once you have that desire, okay, I want to open a business and this is the business I want to open. Now you're going to go and you're going to find the tools on how to accomplish that goal. And so I think, you know, once you have that, the steps start taking place, and then it all starts to come in place as long as you keep continuously going towards it. You might have setbacks. That's part of growth. So you'll learn something and then you're going to have a setback, but you're going to keep moving forward and finding an alternative. It might not go exactly point A to point B, and you might have to do little turns, but that desire is what I feel pushes people to accomplish what they want, if they know what, and that it helps them to understand what they want.
Yeah.
That could be a home, that could be the best in your job, you know. Yeah, it could be being a billionaire, whatever it is. So
yeah, I think it's important if you desire to get a degree, a college education, you have to want it first and definitely go after it by working hard. But, you know, we've heard, you know, work hard and you'll be successful. So go after that education and you'll be successful. But what are some of the barriers, you know, that the article talks about? Actually, let me just mention, it's 3 researchers two of them are from Harvard and one is from the university, the Western Washington University. There's this article in the Harvard Gazette from, I guess it was written by the Harvard Business School. And it says, when parents tell their kids, work hard, do they send the wrong message? When you tell your kids to work hard, are you sending the wrong message? So when parents tell their kids to work hard, do they send the wrong message? So because we just mentioned, like, if you really want it, you dream about it, you plan it, and then you go for it. And there will be obstacles. But what are some of the barriers, Gabrielle, that we know?
Yeah, well, again, I'm thinking back to my time as a teacher. Well, like you said, if you have a desire, that really helps. And now with the internet, you can get information, anything you want to know, you can find it. You don't, it's all there. But working hard is part of it. You do have to work hard, but it's not the whole piece. It's not the whole picture. You have to learn how to network. I mean, most jobs, the majority of people get a job through someone they know. Unfortunately, you have to know how to reach out and talk to people. You need to know, how to find information. You need to have the desire, and you need self-esteem. I saw a lot of students, I had students who I didn't think were the brightest students, but they were full of self-esteem and they did pretty well. And other students who were really bright, but really doubted themselves and didn't think they could do things, and they struggled.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things. And of course, having a nurturing environment, having mentors to guide you on the way is super important. Having a safe environment.
Yeah, so the idea of work, and this article talks about it as in, the effort that you put forth, and we want to put a little bit more emphasis on that. In this society, we are being told that if you haven't put the effort forth, you shouldn't even be counting. We shouldn't count you in at all, because the reason why you're not where you're supposed to be is because you haven't put in the effort. Because over and over again, we are told, do the hard work. It says work hard and you will be successful. And we are being told that as children, work hard and you'll be successful. But again, we wanna basically emphasize some of the challenges, like you talked about, like you have to have parents. So the article mentioned that, luck, where you were born, your family structure, your educational opportunities are also part of you and your ability to become successful. What do you say about that, Kassan?
It is part of it, yes. And everybody has different opportunities based on their economic background, their upbringing, and where they're coming from. So, but I still feel in every aspect in all those areas, working not just hard, but smart, putting effort. It's not necessarily like you got to work hard. It's putting effort and trying to find a smart way to do it too. I think is important in all those aspects. Luck comes in when you're actually doing the work. It just like, if you're just sitting there doing nothing and just dreaming, well, people say, oh, you can dream and you can dream it and it's going to come to you. Yes, it does, but it takes us to do the step. We have to do an action for it. And I think in all backgrounds, either rich or coming from a broken home or coming from a different country and having nothing, everyone has to put some sort of effort towards getting what it is they desire, whatever that is at that moment. So I think it's not just working hard, it's working smart, it's having passion. It's like a funnel of things. It's not one. And I think with children, telling them, you have to just work hard is not the only way to go about it, because there's a whole big perspective around being successful. And it's not just working so hard all the time, because you can work really hard and not be successful. Correct. You could work really, really hard and be miserable and be unhappy with your life because you're not enjoying what you're doing, or you're not enjoying the moment, or you're just, because you're thinking, I have to be the best. You ever hear like someone say, well, I want to have, huge career and I want to make $500,000. They reach that point. Now they have a whole bunch of other problems that come with that. And they're not necessarily happy just based on reaching just money or, so success is, it's a very broad thing. And I think with children, you got to let them know that, the biggest success is you enjoying what you do. For me, that's what I feel, enjoying what you do. And yes, you have to put effort. You do.
Yeah, you have to put effort, but again, the effort is not all of it, because we're saying that there are many people, I know many folks who have worked real hard and have not been able to be financially successful. And we want to differentiate that financially successful. And part of that is because we do deal with systemic issues in this country and also barriers. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because you just mentioned like you've always thought like for your students, right? Successful for you would be to see that they have a career that they love and an opportunity to live in the town they grew, the city they grew up in, and also being able to afford a reasonable lifestyle, an affordable lifestyle. But there are some barriers that have kept many from being, this article really addressed that, saying like, if you are one of those kids who grew up in an affluent community, and I don't know if you all remember that this one social media superstar was asked, what should women do, women in business? And she said, just work hard. And people came after her because they know of all the privileges that she has as a non-minority, and also because of her looks and because of her family structure. Her dad had already positioned her to be more successful than your average person. So what do you say about some of the barriers and the systemic issues that we face, especially in this country, that has kept many from becoming financially successful?
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Gabrielle.
Well, there's so many things. I mean, for example, when I was a teacher, I would see, I would have the students put their homework away at the end of the period, and some kids would just throw a bunch of papers into their bag. So it was simple things like, you have to organize them and put them in folders so that you know where everything is. It's, they may mean well, but if they're not organized, if they don't have time management or know how to schedule their time or organize their files, their papers, these little things that some children get from their parents and some don't. These little things add up. And then there's also the, there's racism and sexism and disability oppression. It's still very strong. And so children who have some kind of, that are discriminated against more than others, they sometimes have to be even more organized, and even things like manners, not all kids have, just being polite or sending a thank you letter, or or not cursing all the time. There's so many things that would lead to a child's success. So obviously some kids have a huge advantage over others. And the best thing we can do is help them in any way we can with all the aspects. Working hard is not enough. No, so there are so many things there are so many deficits that a lot of kids have. It makes it very hard for them to really thrive in society.
Yeah, so those deficits in terms of barriers that you have, and if you are a young person or an adult, and you say to yourself, I would like to be successful, depending on however you define success. I want to be a successful student. I remember when I was one of my teachers supposed to be here today from high school. I was telling her about this, and actually she called me out of the blue. Hi, Gabrielle, how you doing? We're still in contact. And I was saying to her, oh, you know what? I was just talking about you the other day. She's like, really? I said, yeah, you remember you were the person who taught me how to do a resume. Because when I graduated from high school, of course, I kept in contact, and I needed to have a resume for a job at the bank. And I went to her house in Somerville at the time, and she had me sitting next to her, and she said, this is how you're gonna do it. I'm like, you mean you're not gonna do it? She's like, no, you're gonna do it. She had me do it. And because she had me do it, I still remember that. and I've been able to pay it forward by helping other people. But when we talk about like situational, being in an environment where we can get that type of a support, like had I not had her as a teacher to be like a surrogate mother for me, I wouldn't have been able to pursue education or pursue career like I've been able to do that. And I had and the neighbor, I was telling to one of my neighbors, I had a neighbor when I was a teenager who was at MIT, because I lived in Somerville and Medford at the time, and he was an MIT professor. And he was like, oh, you guys, if you need help with this, if you need help with that, and he was willing and able to help all of us. So all my sisters, we all went to college because of him. Because as immigrants coming to this country, we didn't know where to go, and you need to have support. So success, now we talk about being, like the luck part. Is it important like to remind kids that, yeah, when you see someone who doesn't have quote unquote all the success that you have, don't be so quick to judge, because
Absolutely.
opportunity and luck, and luck, by luck we mean like where you were born, who you have around, the family, the church family, the friends you have a lot to do with how successful you become in life. Why is it important to associate? We did a show called Your Network is Your Net Worth. Why is it important to associate if you're looking to be successful, however, in any arena? Why is it important to associate yourself with folks who can help you get to that level of success or help you level up? Kassan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, networking and having that the group of people around you, the resources, because that's what it becomes. You start getting all these resources that you need to help you accomplish what you want to get. Networking is so important. Having just that help from your teachers, and then once you get into the business field, I myself, like, I won't be successful if I'm not out there networking with other people that are not even just in my industry, that are all around.
Mm-hmm.
I won't have business. Just me sitting and trying to do it by myself. It's very hard to do that. And I don't know many people who have been successful that don't have a good circle around them. And your circle's going to change as well. As you elevate, your circle's going to change as well with you, because you need to have that consistent elevation of where you're going, so networking is and not just networking, but your family, your friends who you associate with. If you're around tons of negative people, negativity comes and brings negativity back to you. So if you're trying to accomplish something, you really need positivity around you. So you've got to really find who is supporting me too, who's going to be that person like, yeah, you got this, go do it, or let me help you find this, or or you're giving back and forth. Giving and receiving, you have to give too. That's very important in networking. So it's not just about having what you can get. You also have to give, and everyone has a talent, something that they can share. And so you're helping someone become successful, they're going to help you become successful. Yeah,
definitely. So in real estate, we say location, 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 right? So I think it's also true in life, who you associate with, and also, that has a lot to do with what you would become. So, I mean, I associated my friends or my teachers in high school because I don't know if you guys remember those after school specials. You remember before in the 90s, they used to have after school specials where there's John.
That's my husband.
After school specials where they used to always, it's like a mini movie.
Wasn't supposed to interrupt.
It's a mini movie where you would have like ideas, like they will show, it's usually about young people and how your network and your environment has a lot to do with who you would become. And I remember years ago seeing that movie where this young man was very bright and he got an opportunity to go to a affluent school, and because of his environment and the friends who became jealous of him, he ended up losing his life because he was trying to navigate two worlds and he wasn't able to do that. So we talk about your abilities in terms of like the article talks about, yes, you need to have the effort, you need the luck with the environment, but also innate abilities that you need to have. And when you have those innate abilities, people who are gonna see that. How do you use your innate abilities to become successful and disassociate yourself with folks who are not willing to help you build that up? Okay, Gabrielle, how do you do that? You had students, and many of them were very bright, innately bright.
Yeah, well, some of them were in bad environments and they were influenced by kids who weren't doing good stuff. So, I mean, when you're a kid, you can't always choose your environment, but you can try to choose your friends at school. And as you get older, you have more control and you can, you know, you may have to get rid of some people out of your life who aren't that aren't healthy for you. And that's not always easy. But usually if you're willing to push them away, new, better, healthier people will eventually come in and fill in the gap, you know, so don't be afraid to push people out. Even sometimes you have to do it with your family. There's some family members, if they're too toxic and they upset you too much and they tear you down, sometimes you have to cut them out.
Correct.
Because they'll hurt you and they'll lower your confidence, and as much as you can surround yourself with love and goodness and that people who will help, who want you to do well.
Yeah,
that's what I've found.
Yeah, and I think though, if you want to be successful at anything, in any area of your life, you have to have guts. You really have to have guts. You have to be willing to push back and not be afraid to lose people and lose friends and lose relatives. And because again, going back to, I still remember, I saw many after school specials, but that particular one really had an impact on me, because I remember seeing this young man, very bright, and he never got to materialize or even live to see a successful life because of the fact that he kept on holding on to the past. Sometimes you have to let go and say, you know what, I know I've known them since high school. They've been my friends since my 20s, but I'm going someplace. If they're not going with me, they have to be left behind. Do you agree, Kassan?
Absolutely. I do agree to that. You know, your self-confidence is gonna either go up or go down based on who surrounds you, because you do listen to what people say to you. You know, it does affect you. And you can try to push it aside, but we are human. And so when we hear certain things about, you know, you can do this, you can't do this, or you're wasting your time, or this and this and that, you start to believe that. And you need to, when you're trying to accomplish something and they're not trying to accomplish the same thing as you are, or they're not even near that level of mindset, you got to step away from them. You know, you got to get away. Yeah, so you do got to let go. I mean, I've had to do that so many times.
Yeah. And you know, it's the worst thing.
And I give love from a distance. I give love from a distance.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, my success is being a loving person, but for many folks right now, it's from far away. But at the end of the day, you know, we said that, you know, it's so important to know what you want, because if you know what you want, and I know it's hard when you're a child, when you're a young person. I think I was a little different, because from the time I was 3, I always knew what I wanted, and I wasn't gonna let anybody, you know, deviate, you know, stir me away from that. But you have to know what you want, and you have to be willing to pursue. Folks will judge. It's one thing to get the judgment from outsiders. Going back again to this guy, even someone like me, when I went to, I remember going to one of the universities in Boston, I'm not gonna mention which one, and a professor said to me, "Why are you here? Why are you here? Why couldn't you go?" You know? And I was like, "I'm here because I wanted to come here." And I was like, you know, "I'll show you, I'll get a straight A in your class." And I did. But he's like, "Why are you here?" And you deal with that. And then you come home, or you come to your environment, and people are saying like, "You think you're all that because you get to go to this school." and the behavior, the actions, the mentality of, you know, the crab in the barrel holding you back, trying to hold you back. And I think if you want to become a successful person in a world where there are already so many barriers, you have to be willing to understand that it takes more than effort. It takes, you know, your luck, and your luck involves you positioning yourself around people who can help you when you're older enough to do that, and also your own innate abilities to get things done. So again, going back to this article, it talks about how it's so important to educate kids, because we do have mindsets, you know, our beliefs about those who are not successful. So you get to accomplish your goals of becoming a doctor, you have the degree, you have the house, you have the financial success. But what about you driving down the road here? We've talked about it. Folks who are working hard and not being successful. How do you give back? Should you give back? And should we start teaching our kids early on that they need to give back if they've been lucky, and if they've had some innate abilities that others don't have, and also if they've been successful through efforts as well?
Yeah, I think that's really important with children, is teaching them how to give back and how to help others. You know, like I said, you have to give as well in order to receive something, you know. And I think with children, you know, teaching them volunteering, starting with volunteering, you know, they follow what you do. They see the parents, and what the parents are doing is what they're gonna do as well as they get older, or they're going to completely step away from it as well. So, you know, if you're out there volunteering or giving back, or, you know, even we drive down the street and yeah, sometimes, you know, we'll roll down the window and we'll give some money to somebody that's out there, because we don't know what their situation is. We don't really understand like why they're out there and what's happening. And for the kids to know, well, I have it, and so I can give it to them and help them, because that might help them get a meal, or that might help them to be able to walk down the street and buy a jacket to go get a job. You don't know what it's going to do for them. So I think giving is really, really important, and important to teach children to do that, because it teaches them to be kind. Kindness is very, very key. You know, you can be really mean, and I don't know how far you're going to get with being mean to people and holding on to everything for yourself.
Or being judgmental.
Judgmental. Yeah.
Assuming
everyone has different situations. You know, people can be really doing great, and then one day they could lose everything, you know, and it's you shouldn't judge anybody based on that. So I think helping your children to not be judgmental, even at school, when they're at school and there's other kids that may not have brand name stuff as them, or they may not have certain things that they have. Never tease them, never, you know what I mean? Teaching them not to be that way is really important, because one day they might be in this situation, you know, so.
But Gabriel, we have so many parents who don't know. They don't know what to teach their kids, unfortunately, because there's not a handbook that comes with parenting. And so many of them, unfortunately.
There are a lot of them. No.
I know. Many of them are not educated about the systemic issues that have kept many, especially Black and brown families, from accomplishing goals and becoming successful. Systemic issues that you mentioned, like racism, sexism, and ageism, and you name it, all the ism that we have had to face with. So how do you do the work if you don't know yourself? Because I think that's why I encourage everyone to get involved in your community. Come out, get to hear stories so that you can learn and be able to teach your kids. Is that something that you would like to advise?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, you know, helping other people makes you feel good. As long as you don't give too much. If you do too much, you'll get drained. But like Cassandra said before, did I say your name right, Cassandra? Yeah, it comes with desire. I mean, if you're a kid, you know, in a low income neighborhood with, you know, you know, with a family who's struggling, but you really want to be somebody in your life, you find those people who, the mentors, the people who can support you, and you hold on to them and you grab onto them and you get whatever you can from them. You suck, you know, and that comes from a desire to say, I want a better life, you know. And, you know, don't give up. And, you know, I taught inner city kids for decades, and I had a lot of them who were very successful. You know, a lot of my students were successful, not all of them, but you know, you can do it. But you do need the support, and you need skill sets, and you've got to grab it where you can, and be polite and be nice, be respectful, and ask sincerely with an open mind. You know, people appreciate sincerity and, you know, honest inquiry, you know.
Yeah. So we've said earlier at the very beginning of the show that success is subjective. You know, what's successful? What do you define as being successful for your life? But at the same time too, we are in a country where success can be seen only as financial success. How much money you have in the bank, how wealthy you are, how comfortable you are, you know, in the neighborhood that you live in, and all that is defined as being successful. So therefore, if you're someone who's looking for your own definition of success, you know, what brings you happiness, and also the world definition of success, you know, it's very important that you do the work, effort, saying like, you know, you cannot bypass that. You have to wake up early in the morning and go to the gym. If you have to work all day at work and you don't have any other time other than early in the morning so that you can stay healthy. If you want to do well in school, you gotta get up early in the morning and do your homework, study, prepare before class if you're a student. If you want to be healthy, have a healthy relationship, you have to invest the time and invest your energy and resources to make sure that relationship is healthy. Whatever you define as success in any area of your life, you have to do the work. But also luck is a big part of it. We cannot say that enough. Luck is a big part. The family you grew up with, and I think about the fact that when I looked at my mother and I saw how she did business and managed herself, I was like, oh, I can do that. But there are some kids who are growing up in communities or in families where it's different for them. It's different for them. So it's very difficult for them. And also the church families that I had, the you know, teachers, all that was part of my luck. Really, the neighbor, Bill Harvey, who's no longer with us, he died, he passed away a couple of years ago in San Diego, but he was a professor at MIT, and because he had a PhD, and he told us, you know, oh, you can do that. And I was like, really? What is PhD? He used to make fun of it. He said, piling higher and deeper, you know, more knowledge and more knowledge. And he was like, you know, you guys can do anything you want to do. If I can help, let me know. And that was part of our luck. But also innate abilities. I think, you know, the fact that, you know, the article talks about not everybody has innate abilities, but I think you can gradually grow your education or your abilities, your intelligence by, again, putting in the effort, and you're gonna need that. So, but if you have someone who's achieved success, it's very important that you take the time to tell your kids that it takes more than just effort, that they're gonna need to work hard, and they have systemic issues that are lining up against certain people, and that if they see someone in need, that they have to pay it forward. And that's why for me, it brings me a lot of joy when I'm able to pay it forward. Do you ladies have any last word that you like to share? Encouragement? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You know, I feel that also a lot of major part of success has to do with faith too.
Correct.
So, you know, knowing your faith, and having some sort of, and everyone has a different form of faith, you know, if they believe in God, if they're whatever religion or whatever, but faith has a lot to do with success as well, because you could go back and ground yourself and have another spiritual way of being able to connect to what it is to help you to get to where you want to get to. And giving back, like you said, is really important.
Mhm.
And I think nowadays with children, being able to show them examples of people that have made it, that have had very bad circumstances. If they're in a bad situation, they don't have to remain in that situation. And so I
Mhm.
think nowadays there's so many, successful people out there that they have a lot of people to look up to, that they can resemble and look and say
Mhm.
that looks like me.
Mhm.
This looks like me. They did it, I can do it. And that's
Oh,
a really big key, is knowing that someone did it, so why can't I? So yeah, that's it.
yeah, faith is huge. I tell you, I always say that I believe in education, but definitely my faith has been the anchor that I've
Yes.
been holding on to and I've been living by. What about you, Gabrielle? Last
Well,
word.
I just want to say it's so good that you're doing these podcasts. I hope a lot of people are listening because you're sharing useful information that will enhance people's lives. So
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to thank you,
Yeah.
Gabrielle. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Gabrielle. That's part of my, I believe this is a success because I started this in 2020 due to COVID. I wanted to share, I wanted to give back. I give back every day to my community because
Yeah.
I believe that's part of what I need to do as a human being. That's what I value the most. But I wanted to do something beyond my community, so I do it here, and I get the calls. They're not as many as I would have as I would like, but you know what? They're soon coming. They're coming. I get the calls and I get the appreciation, and I hope and pray that this tonight's podcast or live will help somebody to realize that, yeah, it takes a lot more than hard work. Don't just work hard, build relationships, love on people, and give back. That's part
Yeah.
of your success. And really don't judge other people because you don't know what they're going through. And if you can
Absolutely.
help, just help. Don't
Yeah.
judge. So thank you
Thank you.
so much for
Thank you for
everything.
having me.
Yes, thank you, Kassan, for being here. I
This
want you
was
to come
great.
back. I want you to
Yes, this was my first podcast, so I want to say thank you. So I accomplished something today, and that was, I'm going to go out there and put myself out there, get out my comfort zone. And this was
Yes.
getting out of my comfort zone. So thank you so much for it and giving me the opportunity. So this was a
Yeah.
success for me today.
I was saying to Kassan, I say, if you can work at a bank and talk to clients, you can do this because we work in banking together. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Gabriela, for being here. Gabrielle,
Yes.
my lovely friend. Thank you so much for being here. We'll go off, and please, before I go off, tag, share, make a comment, let your friends know again, just like Gabrielle just mentioned, that this podcast is here for you, this live. It's here. We on we on LinkedIn, we on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, many different platforms. Please share, tag, make a comment, let your friends know that we are here for them and we are here for you. Thank you so much for your time. Have a